This book may drive you crazy. What it contains is mysterious and fascinating, frustrating, and more often than not, tragically incomplete. It is a look behind the curtain into a world of what might have been. It is a look under the hood at how the machinery of a writing career that lasted over half a century functioned. It is also a look at the struggle to express an idea and how difficult it can be to bend the unruly process of creativity to one's will. This is the story of the debris, the chaff, the waste heat that a writer produces. The stuff that never makes it to the editor's desk. The stack of pages never graced by a final "the end." It is humbling to think that, with a career that produced 91 novels and nearly 400 short stories, articles, screenplays, and poems, Louis L'Amour also left behind hundreds of unfinished works. It is comforting to know that, regardless of how prolific he was human, that he had failures, weird ideas, and dreams he couldn't quite fulfill. It is amazing to realize that his imagination stretched well beyond the tremendous variety of work that he eventually published, from westerns and crime stories, high adventure and historical romance, to stories he planned in science fiction, horror, and what can only be called the genre of mystical or spiritual adventure. You may not find a hidden literary masterpiece in this program, but you will get a sense of the entirety of a prolific writer's journey, an idea of the scope of all a truly creative person can struggle to wrap his or her mind around. I have included some of the most interesting material from what is a considerable archive. Many examples are stories that Dad discussed with us around the dinner table. Others were completely unknown to me and inspired a good deal of research. I am reluctant, however, to do too much explaining, reluctant to organize this book too carefully. Exploring these manuscripts for the first time gave me a wonderful feeling of surprise and discovery. It is an experience that I do not wish to deny to others. But I will try to create some context. It is still dark, early morning, a late 1960s winter, and the previous night's rain is still dripping from the eaves. The neighborhood is just off the Sunset Strip in a neglected sliver of Los Angeles County sloping down from the Hollywood Hills. It is a community of nightclubs, gas stations, and small offices where, up narrow flights of stairs, the agents of rarely employed actors ply their trade. West Hollywood is the dark sibling of Beverly Hills, which lies right next door. Beatnik poets and hungover movie stars frequent the coffee shop on the corner. The Doors, Led Zeppelin, and Buffalo Springfield play at clubs like the Whiskey A Go-Go, the Roxy, and Gazzari's, and crowds clash with police when the neighbors complain about the noise and traffic. The edges of parking lots and the overgrown hillsides, even the sidewalks themselves, are dotted with hippies, camping, for lack of a better word, any place they can find a spot where no one will hassle them. They have come to this part of LA following a dream, or the music, or just one another. The place is a motley riot of counterculture, creativity, and confusion. The sound of typewriter keys clacking greets me as I wake. I come downstairs dressed for school. The hallway that leads to the kitchen ends in 3 doors. Ahead, a bathroom. To the left, my father's office, a small room choked with books and papers in a small house choked with books and papers. The light is on above his desk, but his chair is empty. To the right is the kitchen, the coffee percolating, and my mother delivering eggs and broiled bacon, condensed strips with the fat cooked off, my favorite, to the breakfast table. In a few minutes, my sister will join us. My mother doesn't have to dress her anymore. She's old enough to manage by herself. Then, Dad will put down the newspaper, take up a book, and read to us while we eat. It's a morning routine that will not end until I start driving myself to school nearly 10 years later. The books he read were things he was interested in. Thor Heyerdahl's The Kon-Tiki Expedition, adventures in the Apache country, or something from his youth, like Tarzan and the Jewels of Opar. We were surrounded by stories in every manner imaginable. By the time Mom was backing our aging and road-weary Cadillac out of the garage, Dad was back at his desk, typewriter rumbling, keys whacking out an irregular pattern. He'd still be there when I came home from school, after dinner, and sometimes long past my bedtime. I would wake up to that sound the next morning and the next and the next.